The year is 1941, and America is still suffering from the effects of the Great Depression. Millions of Americans were hungry, homeless, and without jobs as late as December 7th, 1941, a date that President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared would live in infamy when the Empire of Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and the United States of America went to war. And that meant all Americans. Each and every citizen of the United States showed their pride of country and patriotism by enlisting in the armed forces or volunteering and providing help and comfort to our troops here, at home, or overseas, including Alton Glenn Miller, who was born March 1st, 1904 in Clarinda, Iowa, and died December 15th, 1944. While in grade school, he made enough money milking cows to buy his first trombone. In 1923, he attended the University of Colorado, where he missed a lot of classes because music was more important than school, and he pursued music full-time. From 1939 until his death in 1944, his band was the most popular band in the land. And in 1942, at the age of 38, he quit his popular band, and being too old to be drafted into World War II, he tried to enlist in the Navy, but they turned him down. He wrote to an Army brigadier general pleading to be allowed to enter the service and lead a modern Army band. He was accepted and became a captain and played trombone with an Army dance band in service clubs and on the Army radio network. He then was allowed to form a large marching band, but when he tried to modernize the marching band music to the more modern blues, jazz, swing style, he met some resistance from the brass. His new music style was so popular with the soldiers, though, that he was eventually allowed full artistic control. In the summer of 1944, he took his band to England to play concerts for the soldiers in England and on mainland Europe. Glenn disappeared in a plane flight over the English Channel on his way to a concert in Paris. Prior, in 1939, after years of working as a freelance trombonist and playing alongside musicians, including another trombonist, Tommy Dorsey, Glenn had formed a band that finally achieved success at the Glen Island Casino in New Rochelle, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Big Band Jazz Cafe Society Orchestra performs Glenn Miller's theme song, which he personally composed, Moonlight Serenade. Much of the work for big bands in the 1940s was in hotels across the country, and the Glenn Miller Orchestra played at a very famous one in New York City, the Hotel Pennsylvania, which was built by the Pennsylvania Railroad and opened in 1919. The hotel has the distinction of having the New York phone number in longest continuous use. The number, Pennsylvania 65000, is the inspiration for the Jerry Gray composition of the same name, with lyrics later added by Carl Sigman. The most popular version was performed by Glenn Miller, with the Andrews Sisters version not far behind. Pennsylvania 65000. Miller disbanded at his civilian height in popularity after a performance at a theater in Passaic, New Jersey on September 27, 1942. He proceeded to organize a brilliant Army Air Force orchestra that included a large string section and was initially based at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. In July 1944, Glenn Miller and the organization headed for England, where they broadcast over the BBC and played service camps throughout the country. In recognition of his good work, he was promoted to the rank of major, and afterwards, when his band was invited to France to entertain the troops near the front lines, Glenn believed that their effect on soldier morale could be even greater. He did what he intended, which was to go overseas and play for the soldiers, the battle-weary troops, playing arrangements that reminded them of home, like this next arrangement, Little Brown Jug, a folk song written by Joseph Winter that dates back to 1869, with this arrangement by Bill Finnegan in 1939. Little Brown Jug. World War II, or the Second World War, was a global military conflict lasting from 1939 to 1945, which involved most of the world's nations, including all of the great powers. Marked by significant events involving the mass death of civilians, including the Holocaust, and the only use of nuclear weapons in warfare. It was the deadliest conflict in human history, resulting in 50 to over 70 million fatalities, and Major Glenn Miller was one of them. A String of Pearls was written by Jerry Gray and Eddie DeLange and performed by Glenn Miller and his orchestra and recorded on November 8, 1941, a month before the Pearl Harbor attack under Emperor Hirohito of Japan. Jerry Gray was an American violinist, arranger, composer, and leader of swing dance orchestras sharing his name, a name inextricably linked to two of the most famous band leaders of all time, Artie Shaw and Glenn Miller. And now, ladies and gentlemen, A String of Pearls. Just keeps getting better. Major Miller spent his last night alive at Milton East Ernest Hall on the outskirts of Bedford, Bedfordshire. On December 15, 1944, Miller was to fly from the United Kingdom to Paris, France, to play for the soldiers there. His plane, a single-engined UC-64 Norseman, departed from RAF Twinwood Farm in Clapham, Bedfordshire, and disappeared while flying over the English Channel. No trace of the aircrew, passengers, or plane has ever been found, although there are three main theories. Major Glenn Miller's status is missing in action. The International Big Band Jazz Cafe Society Orchestra salutes Major Glenn Miller, performing his biggest hit of all time, In the Mood. The 1939 recording by Glenn Miller and his orchestra remains a classic and cited by National Public Radio 100 listeners as one of the most influential songs of the 20th century. In the Mood was #1 for 13 weeks on the Billboard Jukebox chart in 1940. Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Miller's In the Mood. Don't you just love the horn choreography? Major Glenn Miller fought the Axis of Adolf Hitler with talent and a trombone. He is one of millions of Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice for love of country. In 1942, sleepy little Boca Raton, Florida, had a year-round population of 500. Can you believe it? And wait for this. We're waiting. There we go. And yes, that's a wooden camel over Dixie Highway, which was a tourist attraction. Until Uncle Sam came to town to secretly develop a new technology called radar. The land that is now the Boca Raton Airport and Florida Atlantic University eventually housed over 16,000 troops and 100 planes. 53 soldiers were in the 3rd Air Force Band and formed various groups and played dances all over South Florida. They had come from the dance bands and orchestras of Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Bob Crosby, Paul Whiteman, Glenn Miller, and our next band leader, Tommy Dorsey. Thomas Francis Tommy Dorsey was an American jazz trombonist, trumpeter, composer, and band leader of the big band era. He was known as the sentimental gentleman of swing due to his smooth-toned trombone playing. He was the younger brother of band leader Jimmy Dorsey. After Dorsey broke with his brother in the mid-30s, he led an extremely popular band from the late 30s into the 1950s. Dorsey had a reputation for being a perfectionist. He was volatile and also known to hire and fire and sometimes rehire musicians based on his mood. I'm Getting Sentimental Over You is a song by the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Tommy Dorsey was a featured trombone soloist when his orchestra first played it. It was first recorded in September 1935. A second recording on October 18, 1935, is the exact arrangement that Tommy would henceforth feature. Tommy's expert breath control, command of the upper register, and phrasing added to the sweetness of the sound which typified his orchestra. Frank Sinatra sang this song with the Dorsey Orchestra. I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. Tommy Dorsey had a run of 286 Billboard chart hits. The Dorsey Band had 17 #1 hits with his orchestra in the 1930s and 1940s. Marie by Irving Berlin was #1 for 3 weeks. His biggest hit was I'll Never Smile Again, featuring Frank Sinatra on vocals, which was #1 for 12 weeks on the Billboard Pop Chart singles in 1940. Opus 1 was written for Tommy Dorsey by Cy Oliver in 1939, one of America's great jazz composers and arrangers, and a man who had a significant impact on American popular music. Cy Oliver's hit, Opus 1. The Tommy Dorsey Orchestra was referred to at the time as the General Motors of the band business. It contained a wealth of talent and developed several stars, none greater than that kid from Hoboken, New Jersey, Frank Sinatra. Sinatra was the greatest star that Tommy Dorsey ever produced. Francis Albert Frank Sinatra was an American singer and actor. Beginning his musical career in the swing era with the Harry James and Tommy Dorsey, Sinatra became a successful solo artist in the early to mid-1940s, being the idol of the Bobby Soxers. His professional career had stalled by the 1950s, but it was reborn in 1954, winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in From Here to Eternity. Sinatra retired for the first time in 1971. 2 years later, he came out of retirement with the theme from New York, New York. Sinatra was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Ronald Reagan in 1985. The United States Postal Service issued a 42-cent stamp in honor of Sinatra on May 13, 2008. The design of the stamp was unveiled on his birthday, Wednesday, December 12, 2007, in the year that would have been his 92nd birthday in Beverly Hills, California. The United States Congress passed a resolution on May 20th, 2008, designating May 13th as Frank Sinatra Day to honor his contribution to American culture. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Walt Andrus.
Orchestra, and one of my favorite people in the world, and he never recognizes himself. Please say hello to Mr. Dick Cully on the drums. We take a moment to do a little bit of a vamp up front on this next song to feature our rhythm section, and a nice little groove that Mr. Cully will establish for us. Another important song in history, ladies and gentlemen. And the fact that the year 1968, when I was, about this tall, it was Apollo 8 was circling the moon. And this particular song was hyped up via the technology of the day. It was recorded by Mr. Sinatra with an arrangement by Quincy Jones. everything is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, oh baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all that I want. All I worship and adore. In other words, please be true.
Walt Andrus. Trombonists weren't the only big band leaders at home trying to keep morale up. The clarinet proved to be a popular instrument for band leaders as well. Artie Shaw, with his record of Begin the Begin, allowed the Artie Shaw Orchestra to earn as much as $60,000 weekly, a figure that would equal more than $600,000 a week today. The other clarinetist was Benjamin David Benny Goodman, born May 30th, 1909 in Chicago, son of David Taylor and Dora. A poor family, but the Goodmans believed in education of all kinds. When his father learned that the local synagogue gave music lessons and rented instruments at extremely low rates, he sent young Benny and two of his older brothers over. The biggest boy came home with a tuba, the middle with a trumpet, and Benny, as the youngest and smallest, came home with a clarinet. By the time Goodman was 13, he was playing professionally and had received his first union card. He freelanced as a sideman and became leader of his own swing band, looking for fame. They were suddenly introduced to enormous popularity when they hit the Palomar Ballroom in Los Angeles. The kids went nuts, jitterbugging wildly. The swing era was born. From that point on, Goodman was a musical celebrity. He went on to play successful band concert at Carnegie Hall and Paramount Theater in 1937. Goodman made social history by becoming the first white band leader to make a black musician part of his group when he hired pianist Teddy Wilson in 1936. With Wilson, Goodman's core band members were Gene Krupa on drums, and after 1937, Lionel Hampton, another black jazz artist, on the vibraphone. Goodman refused to play concert dates in southern states where audiences were segregated by race. The story of Goodman's life was made into a feature film starring Steve Allen by Universal International and renewed interest in his music. As part of a cultural exchange program, he became the first man to tour the Soviet Union with a jazz band. He was extremely well received by Soviet audiences. Goodman continued to perform and record for the rest of his life and accumulated many honors, including recognition by the Kennedy Center, a Grammy Award for Life Achievement, and a month before his death from cardiac arrest on June 13, 1986, an honorary doctorate of music from Columbia University. Ladies and gentlemen, Benny Goodman's Let's Dance. Drummers were big band leaders as well. The legendary daddy of them all, Chick Webb, with vocalist Ella Fitzgerald, made history at the Savoy Ballroom. And then there was the Drummin' Man, who made history playing in Benny Goodman's orchestra before leading his own. Eugene Bertram, Gene Krupa, was born January 15, 1909 in Chicago, Illinois, the youngest of 9 children in the family of Bart and Anna Krupa. His father was an immigrant from Poland, and his mother was born in Pennsylvania. Many consider Krupa to be one of the most influential drummers of the 20th century, particularly regarding the development of the drum set. Many jazz historians believe he made history in 1927 as the first trap drummer ever to record using a bass drum pedal. He is also credited with inventing the rim shot on the snare drum. Where would comics be without that, right? In 1933, Krupa first played with Benny Goodman and became part of the Benny Goodman Trio, the first popular integrated musical group in the United States. In 1934, he joined Benny Goodman's band, where his featured drum work made him a national celebrity. His tom-tom interludes on their hit Sing, Sing, Sing were the first extended drum solos to be recorded commercially. Benny Goodman and his orchestra, featuring Gene Krupa on the drums, was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In 1938, Krupa performed with the Goodman Orchestra in the famous Carnegie Hall Jazz Concert. Krupa left Goodman to launch his own band and had several hits with singer Anita O'Day and trumpeter Roy Eldridge. Krupa in the 1930s prominently featured Slingerland drums. At Krupa's urging, Slingerland developed tom-toms with tunable top and bottom heads, which immediately became important elements of virtually every drummer's setup. Krupa also developed and popularized many of the cymbal techniques that became standards. His collaboration with Armand Zildjian of the Zildjian Company developed the modern hi-hat cymbals and standardized the names and uses of the ride cymbal, the crash cymbal, the splash cymbal, the pang cymbal,
I don't have one of them.
and the swish cymbal.
I don't have one of them either.
In 1939, Gene Krupa and his orchestra appeared in the Paramount movie Some Like It Hot, which starred Bob Hope, performing the title song, Blue Rhythm Fantasy, and The Lady's in Love with You. Krupa made a memorable cameo appearance in a pivotal scene of the 1941 film Ball of Fire, in which he and his band performed an extended version of the hit Drum Boogie, which he composed with trumpeter Roy Eldridge. In 1978, Gene Krupa became the first drummer inducted into the Modern Drummer Hall of Fame. And now, sing, sing, sing with a swing. That was hot. Dream, sometimes referred to as Dream When You're Feeling Blue, is a jazz and pop standard with words and music written by Johnny Mercer in 1944. It has been performed by many artists, with the most popular versions recorded by the Pied Pipers, Frank Sinatra, and Roy Orbison. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome back to the stage Mr. Walt Andrus. Dreams are what life is all about. We all have them, each and every one of us. Goals, desires, wishes, hoping our dreams come true. Our World War II veterans were talented, gifted people from all walks of life. Americans, all who banded together for a higher calling. Millions were on the front lines and millions were on the home front sacrificing, including their lives, so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we do, including evenings like this that allow us to dream. Never let us forget Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy. This is American history, our culture, and our future to preserve, or cast aside. The choice is yours. Good evening, and God bless the United States of America. Mr. Dick Cully.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of the show? Now, you're probably wondering why I'm not dressed like them. But, well, I'm the boss. So I can dress the way I want. But this is as close as I can get to being in a naval uniform, because I wasn't in the military. But this is a very important day. 70 years ago was the beginning of the Second World War. And it's not a national holiday. Most people don't know of it. I've been told by a couple of school teachers that they kind of took a survey, and only 10% of the student body knew what happened today. It's kind of sad, isn't it? But, on the other hand, the Olympic Heights Community High School Band, listen to these guys. Come on, stand up. Come on, let's hear it for them. And this is under the direction of their band director, Miss Jackie Parsons. Let's hear it for Jackie. Okay, now, they got a number for you that's hot. I heard it this afternoon. This is a hot band. Now, the other reason that we're here is this is our future. And if this music is going to survive, they have to, these are the people that have to make it happen. Once again, I am so heartbroken. I can't tell you how hard I worked to try to fill this theater. I don't know how many people here tonight, but I love you all for coming. But, you know, to get this guy, the colonel, well, there's nothing in this, but we're going to pass this around while you listen to the band. And while you listen to the band, this is the reason we're passing this around. So listen to this wonderful band, and please help us. Whatever you put in here is going to this band to buy new musical instruments, to buy new music, okay? So help us out. Jackie? Let's hear it for Jackie.
Thank you. It is a pleasure and an honor for me and my students to pay tribute to our veterans and to this wonderful time in our history. And it's really our national treasure is jazz. And that's what we're here trying to preserve, and just to pay tribute to it, to America, our great country, and to this wonderful time. I want to thank you for coming and let you know that in the lobby we have tickets to our concert is next week. It's next Thursday, the 15th at 7 p.m. We'll be selling tickets in the lobby. And also, if you could please remember to fill out the blue forms, because if you want to be contacted so for future events and concerts, with your information, we can do that. So please don't forget that. Thank you. Ready?
Come on. Come on, stand up. Let's hear it for these kids. Olympic Heights Community High School Band, under the direction of Jackie Parsons. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to take a short break, about 15 minutes, and we've got some more great music for you. We've got lots of more surprises, okay? So stay with us, take a breather, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes. God bless you all. Thanks for coming.